Hello, my name is Nancy, and this is my first needle felting tutorial. And today we're going to do just a basic pumpkin. And before you start, you want to make sure you have your materials. You want to have a good sponge mat for felting on top of, or just a mat of some sort to protect your table. Now I'm just covering mine up with a towel because of the glare from the light. And you want to make sure you have your felting needle. This is a single one that I got out of a kit from Michael's. And then, now I have a 3 needle tool. I love this thing. It's got 3 needles in it. Great time saver. You might want to have a couple of finger protectors. These things are great. Save you a lot of pain from accidentally stabbing yourself. Toothpick for later. Make sure you got your color roving that you want. I've got orange. Then I've got my green for the topper and the stem. Now what I do is I do something a little different. For the core of my projects, I use polyfill. You can get this at Walmart, craft stores, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. And I find that it is a great money saver. And I use that for my cores. And what I do is just go ahead and just grab a little piece, not too big, and using my 3 needle tool, slip it on my finger covers, just simply kind of just bunch it up together a little bit, and then all you got to do is simply start stabbing. And this will work on the same concept as core wool. And your needles with the with the barbs on them are tearing the fibers and kind of, I guess you could say, knitting them together. Now as you're poking, just keep rotating. That is the key. Rotate, rotate, rotate. It'll take a few minutes to get going, but then you can see I've already started forming a ball. Not perfect yet, but just keep stabbing down the fuzzy parts, the big fluffy parts, just keep stabbing them down. Just keep rotating. I said it'll take a few minutes. Now this isn't perfectly all felted down, but for demonstration purposes. Now you want to start making this bigger. Just get a little bit more fluff, not very much. Just kind of put it on there, just kind of hold it down. And then just start poking carefully in between your finger and your thumb. Don't forget to rotate. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And all you're doing is felting down the big fluffy parts. Now this isn't perfect, but you can already probably tell. Now here's some fluffies, felting them down. You can already tell that it's already starting to form a ball. And you just keep doing that. Just get it felted down, and it'll get firmer and firmer and smaller. All you got to do is just keep adding more fluff to get it up to the size that you want. Now here's one that I did earlier, and as you can tell, I've already felted it down pretty smooth. So your next step is to add your coloring, and then just take your roving or your wool, just pull off a piece. And I find it's easier just go ahead and kind of tear it a couple times, lay it on top of each other, kind of fluff it out, and that'll give you some good coverage. And then all you do is simply cover. Okay, slipping on my covers here. And then just take your thumb and your finger and kind of just smooth it down. And just start felting it down. This is a great way to use your 3 needle tool. It is a great time saver. You could use a single needle, but the 3 needle tool is a great time saver. And remember just to keep rotating. And to be careful that you're going in between your thumb and finger. Okay. Now I've got a little bit of a bald spot there, so I'm just going to take a little bit more. Okay, I've got some here I've already kind of fluffed up a little bit. Now what you can do when you're covering your bald spot is go ahead and give it some overlap over the part that you've already covered. And that will also help cover up the bald spots. So a little bit of overlap never hurts, it just gives you more coverage. Rotate, rotate, rotate. As I'm rotating, I'm taking my thumb and finger and smoothing as I rotate. Just keep felting down. Just keep felting and felting. I can take that and just pull that over. There's a bald spot. Finger and thumb, smooth it down. And I just covered the bald spot. Okay, now normally I would do this like a lot longer. Get it felted down better, but for demonstration purposes, this is just showing just a quick cover. And as you're felting down and you're rotating and rotating, just keep an eye out for bald spots. If you have like a little bald spot, like right there, just take a little piece, put over it, and just felt it down and cover up your bald spots. Okay, let me do this for another minute here. Okay, now when you get done, you might notice that there's going to be like, it looks like pock marks where the needle was punching your wool. And if you want to get a smooth look, the trick is hold it between your hands, kind of squeeze a little bit, and just roll, roll, roll. It'll take a few minutes, but it is worth it. If you want, a nice smooth finish, just roll, 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 and it'll smooth out the pock marks. Like right there, you can tell it's already looking smoother. It just takes a few minutes, and you can get it as smooth as you want. Now, what I'm going to do for the next step is, this is one I was doing earlier and practicing on. Now, after you have got all your coverage, you want to make a bottom. So what I do is like, sometimes I'll just kind of like roll it around, see where it naturally lands, then just pick it up, turn it over, and like you might have a little bit of a flat spot already started, and then just felt, and just poke, 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 and you'll get like a nice flat bottom, and then that way it won't roll on you. This one here, like I said, I was practicing earlier, already got my bottom established. I just flattened it out, already got my bottom. Now next I'm going to demonstrate how I put the grooves in. And you want to take your 3-needle tool, and you can unscrew the top, go ahead and pull out one of the needles, put it back together, and using 2 needles, what I do is I'll set my pumpkin down to where I can see it. And like I said, I've already got a couple grooves here, and all I simply did was just turn it, and then take your 2 needles, start going down the side. Now you'll notice that I'm poking down like almost all the way down. That'll give you a nice deep groove. Now what I do when I get started is I'll turn it to myself and just keep on going down the pumpkin. I just go down. Now usually what I do is I just go down to where the flat part is and stop. And then I'll come back up in the same groove. And I have found by doing that, going down and going up gives me a nice deep groove. I like nice deep grooves. And I hope you can see that. Okay, now what I do is, I'm kind of a symmetrical person, is I will do force. Okay, I hope you can see that. What I do is I'll do force, and then I go back and split that and do eighths. I hope you can see that. On this one I did eighths. This one here, now this is a bigger pumpkin. And as you can tell, I did more. I did 12s. I believe this is a 12. Or if you want, you can make up your own grooves. You could just go down, turn your pumpkin, pick a spot, go down, turn, pick a spot. Make it, you can make it odd number. You can make it, whoops, you can make it symmetrical. And that's how I do the grooves. Just take 2 needles, go down, go back up. Now in the next step, I'm going to do vines. Okay, here's another one I was practicing on earlier. And I'll show you how to do the vines. What I do is just take a piece of green, just kind of a skinny piece of green. Now what I do is I give it a little bit of a twist. That's just me. I find it's just easier. And then all you're going to do is just lay it in your grooves. Now what you can do is, if you want to be symmetrical, you can make them all the same length. You can make different lengths. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm holding it down with my finger on this end, using my thumb to hold it on that end. Then with my single needle, I'm just simply going down. Now as you get close to your thumb, be careful. I'll go ahead and felt, get it all tacked down really, really well so that it holds. Then when I get close to my thumb, I can move my thumb out of the way. And I'll just tack down. Now normally I do this like a lot longer. I'm just, like I said, just doing this for demonstrations. Okay, and get that all tacked down. Then what I do is go ahead and turn it around to the other side. Okay, kind of came loose on me. Just pulling it down, holding it with my thumb. And then I do it on this side. And just come down. Just go up and down, until you get it all tacked down as tight as you want. And that's all it is to simply making your vines. Like I said, you can do different lengths. They don't have to be perfectly symmetrical. And then you can just leave the top a little bit bumpy. You don't have to get too flat on the top, because next will be the topper. And what I do is go ahead and just pull off kind of a bigger piece. And then I take it and just, I hope you can see this, I'm just kind of rolling it into a circle. This will be my topper. Just rolling it into a circle. Okay, you can make the circle as big as you want. You can make it a little bit smaller. Okay, then just take your circle, set it on the top. Okay, now what I'm doing is holding it with my thumb and finger kind of on the outer edges. And then carefully, I poke down the middle first. Be careful of your thumb and finger. If you want, you could always put your protectors on at this time. If you're kind of new, you might want to. But I am just felting down. I'm felting down in the middle first, trying to get it held down. Then what you can do, if you want, is get a little turn. Hold it down. Get yourself a good felt going here. Oh, and I failed to mention my roving here, the orange and the green. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, but I had dyed those myself. I buy Dimension brand roving from Michaels and Hobby Lobby, and it comes white. And then what I have done is just taken plain old Kool-Aid, everyday Kool-Aid, and dyed them myself. If you would like to learn how to dye the roving, or how I do it, if you just look up how to dye roving with Kool-Aid, I should come up, and you will see this in my thumbnail picture. I apologize. I'm not sure how to add a link, you know. But if you just want to look up how to dye roving with Kool-Aid, then you'll see me. I should come up. Okay, now I've got a good felt going down in the middle. Now if you want to make your circle smaller, like just a little bit too big, you could always pull it in a little bit from the sides. Take your needle, and you can always pull in from the sides and felt that down. Okay, now normally I would go a lot longer. I would, get that flatter, but for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna go to the next step. Next step is your stem. This is what you need your toothpick for. And just go ahead and tear off some of your green. And then just wrap it around your toothpick. Now this is kind of tricky, but you just want to give it a good wrap around the toothpick here. Now the tighter that you wrap this, the less felting you actually have to do. And so this is kind of tricky. Just wrap around your toothpick. Alright. That's a little bit skinny for a stem, so I'm going to add a little more. I'm just adding a little bit more. Alright. You can add as much as you want and, get it kind of thick, leave it kind of skinny. Okay, now what I do is kind of hold one end of it, like just a little bit of one end that you don't want to felt. You want to leave that fuzzy because that's going to help you attach it to your pumpkin. And now when you start felting, obviously do not start felting down in the middle. You'll hit that old toothpick. Don't want to break your needle. Just take your needle and go just a little bit away from the toothpick toward the outer edge. And you just start felting up and down, up and down. Now if you're, once you get a little felt going here, if you're kind of worried about, hitting the toothpick, if it kind of makes you nervous, you don't want to break your needle, what you could do is to get yourself just a little felt going first. Then what you could do is go ahead and push. Oops. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and push that off the stick. Okay, take your fuzzy end that you're holding, hold it on with the fuzzy end. Then you can pick up your speed a little bit because you don't have to worry about hitting the toothpick. And then just felt, felt, felt. Now another thing too, at the top there's going to be like a little bit of a hole from the toothpick. And what you can do is just take your fibers, take your needle, pull them in from like the outer edge in toward the middle, and kind of fill in that hole. And this also helps make the stem a little bit firmer too. But you want to do that, for a little while and get it nice and firm. Now here's one I've already got. I made this one earlier, and it's already pretty much firm. Now what I did here on the fuzzy end is you just take it, kind of try to pull it apart a little bit. Just try to make it a little bit fuzzy. Then take your fuzzy part. Okay. Now you can either hold it like this. That's kind of tricky to do. Or sometimes what I do is kind of hold it like that. And I try to, try to hold it like that. And then coming around in between my finger and thumb, so I'm not poking myself, just start poking down. Now I hope you can tell, I'm trying to go in like a little bit of an angle into the stem, at a little bit of an angle. Right, and that will help felt it down toward the middle. And then your fuzzies, if you can get those felted down, that helps hold. Now when you turn it, till you get a little bit established. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use my finger. Now see, you can hold it down with your finger too. And just start felting, felting, felting. Now this isn't perfect. Like I said, I would actually felt it a little bit longer, but that gives you an idea of how to attach a stem. And that is the basics of felting a pumpkin. I hope you enjoyed the video. Here's a couple I've made before. Here's a smaller one. You can do different colors. Here's a brown one I did, brown stem. Now this is a work in process, not done, but you could do, different colors if you want. And that is the basics of making a pumpkin. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you're a beginner, don't ever give up. I'm still new to this myself. I still make mistakes, but don't give up. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Have a nice day and happy felting. Happy felting, everybody. Have a nice day.